Rise, my apprentice.
After the loss of his master, Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi finds himself at a crossroads. The Jedi Council's unwillingness to heed Qui-Gon's warnings about the Sith troubles him deeply. He had always respected the Council, but their failure to act on Qui-Gon's insights begins to weigh on his conscience. Obi-Wan feels a growing disillusionment, sensing that the Jedi are drifting away from their core purpose, bound more to the Republic's politics than to the Force itself. In the days following Qui-Gon's funeral, Obi-Wan contemplates his future with the Order. He realizes that if he stays, he may never be able to honor Qui-Gon's vision of the living Force, a path that values individual understanding, compassion, and balance over rigid dogma. But there's also Anakin, a boy Qui-Gon believed was the chosen one, destined to bring balance to the Force. Obi-Wan knows Anakin's potential, but he also fears that the traditional Jedi teachings might restrain him rather than nurture his gifts. Driven by his need to honor Qui-Gon's legacy and a desire to shield Anakin from the Jedi Order's limitations, Obi-Wan makes the painful decision to leave. He contacts Duchess Satine of Mandalore, a former companion from his youth, who offers him sanctuary. She understands his inner conflict and provides a neutral place where he can focus on training Anakin without interference. On Mandalore, Obi-Wan's approach to training Anakin is profoundly different from the Jedi Order's methods. He emphasizes the importance of understanding and trusting one's emotions, teaching Anakin that feelings are a natural part of life and can be harnessed rather than suppressed. They study the living Force together, exploring ways to connect with it that go beyond traditional Jedi teachings. Obi-Wan encourages Anakin to build connections with people, to care deeply, and to embrace compassion without fear. Mandalore becomes a sanctuary where Anakin can grow and develop his skills, free from the restrictions that often stifle young Jedi. Under Obi-Wan's guidance, Anakin begins to see the Force as a living, breathing entity, not just a tool to be wielded, but something to be respected and nurtured. This unique bond between master and apprentice creates a profound trust, a relationship built on mutual respect rather than hierarchical distance. As Obi-Wan and Anakin forge this path together, they begin to question the broader role of the Jedi in the galaxy, wondering if the Order's rigid code may one day lead to its downfall. Yet for now, they find solace in Mandalore, where they can focus on discovering the true nature of the Force and shaping a destiny that neither fully understands but feels compelled to pursue. On Mandalore, Obi-Wan's approach to the Force centers around balance, compassion, and openness, qualities that differ significantly from the Jedi Order's traditional detachment. Recognizing the importance of attachments, he teaches Anakin that bonds with others are natural and can be a source of strength if managed with wisdom and mindfulness. Obi-Wan, having loved and lost, understands that denying connections only leads to hidden pain. Instead, he encourages Anakin to embrace his love and loyalty while learning to manage the inevitable loss that life brings. As Anakin grows under Obi-Wan's mentorship, one attachment remains in the back of his mind, a wound left open, his mother Shmi, still living as a slave on Tatooine. Anakin often speaks of her with both reverence and concern, and Obi-Wan senses the heavy emotional burden this causes him. With his deepening belief in the living Force, Obi-Wan feels that if Anakin is to find peace, they must confront this bond rather than ignore it. In a way that the Order would never allow, he proposes a mission: to return to Tatooine and free Shmi Skywalker. The journey back to Tatooine is both a practical and emotional one. Obi-Wan teaches Anakin that they are acting not just out of personal connection, but also as a force for good, a chance to right a profound wrong. When they arrive, Anakin is filled with a mixture of joy and trepidation as he's reunited with his mother. With Obi-Wan's guidance, they negotiate her freedom from Watto, Anakin's former master, and offer Shmi a new home on Mandalore. Bringing Shmi to Mandalore is a profound moment for Anakin, marking a new chapter in his life where he no longer has to bear the burden of guilt and worry for her safety. Shmi finds peace on the serene Mandalorian plains, and her presence brings a sense of warmth and family into Anakin's life that he has never known. Obi-Wan, ever the mentor, encourages Anakin to embrace this connection, reminding him that love for his mother doesn't weaken him. It strengthens him. In the quiet moments on Mandalore, Obi-Wan and Anakin work together, training and meditating, while Shmi tends to their home. This new family dynamic becomes a grounding force for Anakin, giving him stability and a reason to channel his emotions constructively. The teachings of the living Force take on a deeper meaning for Anakin now, showing him that love, compassion, and connection can be balanced, guiding his actions rather than consuming him. Through this experience, Obi-Wan not only redefines his own understanding of the Jedi path, but also also helps Anakin cultivate the strength and emotional resilience that will shape him as both a Jedi and a person. They come to see Mandalore as not just a sanctuary, but a place where they are building a new way of understanding the Force, one that honors both duty and the bonds that make them human. Over the years, Mandalore becomes a peaceful sanctuary for Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Shmi, a hidden place where Anakin can grow freely under Obi-Wan's guidance. Away from the influence of the Jedi Council, Obi-Wan finds himself evolving as well, shedding the fears and rigid doctrines that had once shaped his thinking. In the warmth of Mandalore's open landscapes, his belief in the living Force deepens, giving him clarity and purpose. He believes fully in Qui-Gon's vision, that the Force has chosen Anakin for a great purpose, one that will one day bring balance to the galaxy. Anakin, now 19, has become an exceptional Jedi, his mastery of the Force growing each day. Under Obi-Wan's teachings, he has learned not only the art of combat, but also the wisdom to wield his power with restraint and understanding. Rather than fearing Anakin's potential, Obi-Wan encourages it, guiding him to embrace his unique gifts and use them to protect those he loves. He sees in Anakin a strength of heart and a balance that even the Jedi Order struggles to understand. The young man Anakin has become is compassionate and controlled, his connection to the Force steady and unshaken. Obi-Wan watches with pride as Anakin meditates in the Mandalorian wilderness, communing with the living Force in a way that feels both ancient and natural. Anakin's power flows easily, no longer suppressed or hidden, but directed with purpose. Obi-Wan is there to encourage his growth, pushing him to reach even greater heights, convinced that one day Anakin's strength will be the key to restoring balance. In this shared belief, Obi-Wan and Anakin forge a bond that goes beyond master and apprentice. They are like brothers, connected by trust and a deep respect for each other. Anakin, knowing he is believed in and valued, grows confident and self-assured. Obi-Wan's pride in him is palpable, and the freedom to develop his abilities without fear shapes Anakin into someone strong, compassionate, and wise. As whispers of war begin to echo across the galaxy, Obi-Wan and Anakin both sense the gathering storm. Obi-Wan knows that the day may soon come when Anakin's destiny calls him to the front lines, where his strength and balance will be tested. Yet rather than fear what is to come, Obi-Wan feels a steady resolve. Anakin is ready, and the Force has guided them here for a reason. As the Clone Wars begin to envelop the galaxy, the Republic desperately seeks allies to strengthen its position against the Separatists. Mandalore, with its strategic neutrality and respected leadership under Duchess Satine, becomes a prime target for negotiations. The Republic sends Senator Padme Amidala to Mandalore, hoping her diplomatic skills can sway the planet to their cause. Padme arrives on Mandalore, her presence adding a sense of urgency and purpose to the otherwise serene Mandalorian capital. During her formal meetings with Satine and the Mandalorian Council, she makes her case passionately, speaking of unity, the need to defend the Republic, and the values they all share. However, Satine remains firm in her stance of neutrality, unwilling to involve Mandalore in a conflict that could disrupt their peace. When the official negotiations break for the day, Padme takes the opportunity to explore the Mandalorian capital, attempting to understand the culture and people she's trying to convince. It's during this walk she turns, and there, standing among the people of Mandalore, is Anakin Skywalker. Their eyes meet, and for a moment the formalities and tensions of the Clone Wars fade away. They greet each other with a mixture of surprise and joy, each noting how the other has changed. Anakin is no longer the eager, spirited boy she once knew, but a strong, composed young man with a calmness she hadn't expected. They talk, their conversation filled with memories, laughter, and a subtle but undeniable warmth. It's clear that their connection has endured, rekindling a spark that had never quite faded. Over the course of her stay, Anakin and Padme spend more time together, finding solace in each other's presence amidst the heavy political responsibilities they bear. Yet, the negotiations remain strained. Satine, deeply committed to Mandalore's neutrality, respectfully declines Padme's overtures, insisting that Mandalore cannot afford to be drawn into the Republic's war. Though disappointed, Padme understands Satine's position and prepares to return to Coruscant. Before she departs, Anakin walks with her to her ship. He senses her frustration and offers her words of encouragement, reminding her of the strength she's shown in countless other struggles. Padme, moved by his support and perhaps by feelings she has tried to suppress, thanks him with a gentle smile, promising to visit Mandalore again. However, upon her return to the Republic, Padme finds herself targeted. Multiple assassination attempts are made on her life, covert, calculated attacks meant to silence her voice. The galaxy is growing darker and the stakes are higher than ever. The Jedi Council offers her protection, suggesting a team of Jedi to ensure her safety, but Padme Padme, distrustful of certain factions within the Republic and wary of the Jedi's own struggles with the Senate, refuses the offer. She wants someone she can truly trust, someone who will act out of loyalty and friendship, not politics. In a moment of reflection, she realizes there are only two people she would entrust with her life, Obi-Wan and Anakin. Reaching out to Mandalore once more, Padme makes her plea, asking Obi-Wan and Anakin to become her personal security detail. The decision weighs heavily on both Jedi, as it means stepping back into the Republic's complex web of alliances and conflicts, but they know Padme's heart and her commitment to justice, and they recognize the importance of keeping her safe in these uncertain times. Obi-Wan, understanding that Anakin's attachment to Padme runs deeper than he might admit, sees this as a moment of destiny, a call from the Force. They accept, knowing that their roles as guardians will demand all their strength and wisdom. Together, they prepare to leave Mandalore and re-enter a galaxy on the brink of war, with Anakin's bond with Padme now rekindled and stronger than ever. As Obi-Wan and Anakin settle into their roles as Padme's protectors, they are thrust into the political heart of the Republic. Together, they travel with Padme across war-torn systems, witnessing firsthand the toll the Clone Wars take on the galaxy. Their presence creates a unique dynamic. Unlike other Jedi, they operate without the Council's strict oversight, following a path guided by the living Force and their personal convictions. This independence becomes a point of quiet tension with the Jedi Order, especially when word spreads of Obi-Wan and Anakin's return. For the Jedi Council, Obi-Wan and Anakin's presence is a mixed blessing. On one hand, they are pleased to see two powerful Force users aiding the Republic. On the other, they sense a shift in both men, a deviation from the Jedi code that concerns the Council. Obi-Wan's relaxed approach to attachments and the living Force is unsettling to some, while Anakin's raw power and unorthodox methods stir fear and unease among the Jedi. Rather than following the Council's instructions, they make decisions on their own terms, prioritizing loyalty to Padme and their mission over the Order's doctrines. As they travel together, Anakin and Padme find themselves drawn closer in ways neither had anticipated. The long nights in the quiet of Padme's quarters, the stolen glances during tense negotiations, and the unspoken understanding that grows between them create a bond that transcends friendship. Anakin feels the weight of his feelings for Padme, yet he doesn't resist or hide from them. Encouraged by Obi-Wan's teachings on embracing attachments, their connection, nurtured through shared experiences and genuine trust, blossoms into love. Padme too feels a pull she cannot deny. Anakin's loyalty and conviction inspire her. He's both fierce and gentle, an anchor in the turbulent waters of the Republic's politics. Slowly, they transition from friends to lovers, finding solace and strength in each other's arms. The secret of their relationship is one they keep close, but it becomes the foundation for Anakin's sense of purpose, a love that he cherishes and vows to protect. However, this new path tests them all. The Jedi Council grows increasingly wary of Anakin's proximity to Padme, seeing it as a threat to his judgment. They warn Obi-Wan that Anakin's attachment could lead him astray, and they question whether the young man, free of the Jedi Order's teachings, can wield his immense power responsibly. Obi-Wan defends Anakin, pointing out his maturity, strength, and the stability he's gained through his bond with Padme. He believes Anakin's balance comes not from denying his emotions, but from embracing them with mindfulness. Yet Obi-Wan senses the Council's fear and feels the tension building, a division between their way and the Jedi's dogma. As the Clone Wars unfold, Chancellor Palpatine takes notice of Anakin, intrigued by the young man's unique abilities and independent approach to the Force. Palpatine has heard of Anakin's powerful presence and his unconventional training, free from the Jedi Order's influence. The Chancellor, sensing an opportunity, begins to cultivate a friendship with Anakin, inviting him to private meetings and speaking to him as a trusted confidant. At first, Palpatine attempts his usual method of subtle manipulation. He hints at the inefficiencies and hypocrisies within the Republic and the Jedi Order, suggesting that true strength lies in transcending their limitations. Palpatine commends Anakin's independence and praises his willingness to follow his own path. He subtly encourages Anakin to consider how much more he could achieve if he were free from the ideals that constrain him, planting seeds of doubt about the Jedi's approach. However, Anakin, rooted deeply in the living Force and the teachings Obi-Wan has instilled in him, remains unmoved by these suggestions. His training has taught him to see through hidden motives and to trust in the flow of the Force, rather than seeking power for its own sake. Palpatine's insinuations about control and strength do not resonate with him in the way the Chancellor hopes. Anakin, grounded and balanced, remains firm in his commitment to serving others and finding harmony within the Force. Yet Despite Palpatine's failure to sway Anakin with subtle appeals to power, a friendship does grow between them. Anakin appreciates Palpatine's company, finding in him a rare confidant within the Republic's high ranks. Palpatine respects Anakin's strength and listens to his frustrations about the galaxy's struggles with a sympathetic ear. Anakin, who has always felt slightly apart from the Jedi due to his different upbringing, finds in Palpatine someone who understands his unique position, even if they don't see eye to eye on every matter. Palpatine adjusts his approach, seeing that overt manipulation will not work. Instead, he becomes a supportive figure in Anakin's life, offering advice and perspective rather than persuasion. He encourages Anakin to think critically and act according to his beliefs, framing himself as a friend who values Anakin's judgment and independence. Anakin, touched by this acceptance, begins to trust Palpatine, appreciating that he can discuss his ideas and concerns without judgment. For Palpatine, this friendship is still a strategic connection. Though he cannot manipulate Anakin as he would others, he is patient, waiting for the moment when Anakin's beliefs might be tested. He knows that even the strongest convictions can be shaken by the right circumstances. Until then, he remains close to Anakin, a friend and ally who offers counsel without pressing too hard, willing to bide his time for the opportunity to shape Anakin's path. Through this connection, Anakin gains a confidant in Palpatine, but remains unwavering in his dedication to the living force. This grounding keeps him clear-eyed and resistant to the Chancellor's influence. For now, their friendship remains a quiet, mutual respect, with Palpatine waiting and watching, knowing that circumstances may one day open the door he needs. As the Clone Wars intensify, Obi-Wan and Anakin remain committed to following the will of the Force above all else, rather than aligning strictly with the Republic or the Jedi Council. This approach leads them to question orders and make decisions based on what feels right, even if it means contradicting directives from the Republic or the Jedi Order. Their loyalty to the living Force, rather than political or organizational allegiance, often creates friction. The Jedi Council views their independent actions with suspicion, while Republic officials grow frustrated with their refusal to be controlled. This detachment allows Obi-Wan and Anakin to see the larger picture with increasing clarity. With each mission, they delve deeper into the hidden currents of the war, guided by the Force to places where answers lie hidden. They talk to people in occupied territories, listen to whispers of corruption within the Republic, and encounter allies and enemies whose insights reveal startling connections. Gradually, they begin to piece together a pattern, one that points to a sinister plan orchestrated from the shadows. As they continue their journey, Anakin and Obi-Wan start to suspect the influence of the Sith in the highest levels of the Republic. Palpatine, ever the calculating observer, becomes aware that his subtle manipulations on Anakin are failing time and time again. The independence instilled in Anakin by Obi-Wan's training, as well as his grounding in the living Force, keeps him resilient against the Chancellor's influence. Anakin respects Palpatine as a friend, but he is unmoved by the Chancellor's hints at power and ambition, leaving Palpatine both frustrated and alarmed. Palpatine watches in growing concern as Obi-Wan and Anakin unravel more of the Sith's web. Realizing that their suspicions are closing in on him, he decides to take drastic measures. Using his influence over the Republic and the Jedi Council, he begins to sow seeds of distrust against the two Jedi. Through carefully placed whispers, he casts them as rogue operatives, suggesting to both the Council and Senate that Obi-Wan and Anakin have grown disloyal, pursuing their own agenda rather than serving the Republic. These suspicions take root, fed by the uneasy relationship the two Jedi have maintained with the Council. As Palpatine subtly manipulates the Republic and the Jedi, Obi-Wan and Anakin find themselves increasingly isolated. Their warnings about a Sith presence within the Republic fall on skeptical ears, and the Jedi Council begins to question their motives. Members of the Council, already uneasy about Anakin's unconventional training and Obi-Wan's defiance of the Order's doctrines, view their claims with distrust. Undeterred, Obi-Wan and Anakin continue their investigations. Finally, after a series of missions that lead them into the heart of the Republic's corruption, they uncover evidence that points unmistakably to Palpatine. Shocked and dismayed, they realize that the man guiding the Republic through this war is the Sith Lord orchestrating it. Anakin and Obi-Wan bring their findings to the Jedi Council, desperate to expose Palpatine and end the Sith's influence once and for all. But the Council, already swayed by Palpatine's manipulations and suspicious of Obi-Wan and Anakin's motives, hesitates. They see the accusations against the Chancellor as extraordinary and dangerous, especially coming from two Jedi who have defied their authority. The Council demands further evidence, claiming that such a bold accusation requires undeniable proof. To Obi-Wan and Anakin's frustration, the Council's caution and bureaucratic nature give Palpatine the time he needs to execute his own plans. Realizing the Council's indecision, Palpatine seizes this opportunity opportunity, he accelerates his schemes, working swiftly to dismantle the Jedi's influence and prepare for his takeover. With the Council hesitating and the Republic turning against them, Obi-Wan and Anakin find themselves more isolated than ever, struggling to rally allies and protect those who still believe in them. As the Jedi hesitate, Palpatine begins his final moves, setting the stage for the betrayal that will shake the galaxy. Across the galaxy, Order 66 is enacted, sending shockwaves through the Force. Jedi scattered across battlefields find themselves outnumbered and outgunned, falling one by one as clone troopers turn on them. The Jedi Order, spread too thin and unprepared for such betrayal, is decimated. Yoda, stationed on a distant world, feels the deaths of his fellow Jedi ripple through the Force, a tidal wave of loss and darkness. In that moment, he realizes Anakin and Obi-Wan's warnings were true. The Sith have not only returned, but have corrupted the heart of the Republic itself. Determined to end this darkness, Yoda resolves to confront the Sith Lord. He reaches out to Anakin and Obi-Wan, who have also survived the initial purge. Recognizing the gravity of the moment, Anakin and Obi-Wan agree to join Yoda. Together they prepare for a final stand against Palpatine, knowing that the future of the galaxy depends on their success. They journey to Coruscant, the dark heart of the Sith's influence, and confront Palpatine in his Grand Senate chamber, a fitting stage for the galaxy's fate to be decided. As they enter, Palpatine stands at the far end, his expression twisted in a smug, dark satisfaction. At his side is Count Dooku, his loyal apprentice, and a formidable duelist in his own right. The stage is set. Yoda squares off against Palpatine, while Anakin and Obi-Wan turn to face Dooku. A moment of silence lingers as they all draw their sabers, the air thick with anticipation and the Force buzzing with energy. The battles unfold with explosive intensity. Yoda, facing Palpatine, uses every ounce of his wisdom and skill to counter the Sith Lord's devastating power. Lightning crackles, the room trembles, and they clash in a dance of light and shadow, both masters of their arts. Meanwhile, Anakin and Obi-Wan engage Dooku in a fierce duel. Dooku, with his refined Makashi technique, fights with precision and cunning, determined to eliminate his former Jedi allies. As the battle rages on, Dooku manages to exploit a small opening, striking Obi-Wan down with a swift, calculated move. Obi-Wan falls, his final moments marked by peace as he trusts in the living Force, passing on his strength and wisdom to Anakin with his last breath. Anakin, standing over his fallen master, feels a profound sadness and loss. But unlike the Anakin of the past, who might have been consumed by rage and recklessness, this Anakin is grounded, his soul fortified by the living Force. He remembers Obi-Wan's teachings, embracing his emotions without letting them control him. Anakin steadies himself, takes a deep breath, and recenters, his mind clear and his heart resolved. With precision and calm, Anakin resumes his duel with Dooku, moving with the grace and focus of a true Jedi. He counters Dooku's moves with calculated patience, staying one step ahead until he finally disarms and defeats the Sith apprentice. Dooku falls, leaving Anakin standing alone, but resolute and balanced in his mastery of the Force. Anakin then turns to aid Yoda, who is still locked in combat with Palpatine. Yoda, exhausted but undeterred, accepts Anakin's support, and together they confront the Sith Lord. With the combined strength of their powers, Anakin and Yoda press Palpatine, each strike and counterstrike a testament to their bond with the Force and their determination to rid the galaxy of darkness. Finally, through a combination of Yoda's wisdom and Anakin's strength, they overwhelm Palpatine, who falls in a burst of defeated fury. In the aftermath of the battle, the Senate chamber is silent, save for the hum of lightsabers deactivating. Anakin and Yoda stand amidst the wreckage, reflecting on all that has been lost and all that remains to be rebuilt. With Palpatine and Dooku defeated, the galaxy is given a chance for true peace. Yoda and Anakin return to what remains of the Jedi Temple. They mourn their fallen comrades, and with heavy hearts, they begin to plan for a future that must be built on the lessons of the past. Anakin, honoring Obi-Wan's teachings and the wisdom passed down from Qui-Gon, envisions a new Jedi Order, one that embraces the living Force, that values compassion, and that sees attachments not as weaknesses but as strengths to be understood and managed. Together, Yoda and Anakin begin to rebuild the Jedi Order, not as it was, but as it was always meant to be. They open their doors to new teachings, allowing Jedi to connect with their emotions in a balanced, healthy way, fostering a deeper understanding of both the light and dark sides of the Force. They teach their students to follow the living Force, to seek peace not only in detachment but in connection, and to respect the natural balance of the universe. In time, the Jedi Order flourishes once more, no longer bound by dogma or fear. Anakin, as the Chosen One, has fulfilled his destiny, not through anger or vengeance, but through wisdom, compassion, and balance. And the galaxy, under the watch of this renewed Jedi Order, begins an era of harmony that will last for generations to come.